Morning class 10th and welcome again to geography class. So we have completed till the soils of India. So last topic is left and that is the soil erosion and conservation of chapter 1. So what is soil erosion? The denudation of the soil cover and subsequent washing down is described as soil erosion. Okay, and it is also the displacement of the upper layer of soil, and it is one form of soil degradation. It is one form of a soil degradation. The soil erosion may be a slow process that continues relatively unnoticed, or it may occur at an alarming rate, causing a serious loss of topsoil. The loss of soil from farmland may be reflected in the reduced crop production potential, lower surface water quality, and damaged drainage networks. Soil erosion could also cause sinkholes. Denudation is what? Denudation involves the processes that cause the wearing away of the earth's surface by moving water, by ice, by wind and by waves, leading to a reduction in the elevation and in relief of landforms and of landscapes. That is denudation. Now, which are the factors responsible for soil erosion? So, number one is climate. The amount and intensity of precipitation, rainfall, is the main climatic factor governing soil erosion by water. The relationship is particularly strong if heavy rainfall occurs at times when or in location where the soil surface is not well protected by vegetation. Wind erosion requires strong winds, particularly during times of drought when vegetation is sparse and soil is dry. Other climatic factors such as average temperature and temperature range may also affect erosion, while their effects on vegetation and soil properties. Okay? So in general, given similar vegetation and ecosystems, areas with more precipitation, especially high intensity rainfall, more wind or more storms, are expected to have more erosion. Next is deforestation, cutting down of trees. We know vegetation acts as an interface between the atmosphere and soil. It shelters the soil from winds, which results in decreased wing erosion as well as advantageous changes in microclimate. The roots of the plant bind the soil together and interweave with other roots, forming a more solid mass that is less susceptible to both water and wind erosion. Therefore, if we cut tree or the removal of vegetation, increases the rate of surface erosion. Next is topography. The topography of land determines the velocity at which surface runoff will flow, which in turn determines the erosivity of the runoff. Longer, steeper slopes are more susceptible to very high rate of erosion during heavy rains than shorter, less steep slopes. The steeper terrain is also more prone to mudslides, landslides, and other forms of gravitational erosion processes. Next is bad agricultural practices or methods, like the movement of plough. Ploughing in wrong way, like up and down the slope, it forms channel in the agricultural field, and therefore it forms a channel in which the water accumulate, and therefore it leads to further soil erosion. Then the crops, the same crops, if they are sown again and again in the same field, sowing the same crop again and again, takes the certain nutrients from the ground. That is also a bad practices. The slash and burn agriculture is also a bad agricultural methods. Overgrazing. Heavy grazing reduces vegetative cover, and as we know, these roots, they hold the soil firmly. So therefore, this reduces vegetation cover, the grazing, and causes severe soil compaction, both of which increase erosion rates. Next is mining, that is extraction of minerals from deep inside the earth and therefore this process requires the cutting of different layers. Soil became loose once again, and therefore wind or water, it became very effective and can take away the upper layer of soil. So excessive mining also is responsible for soil erosion. Okay, next is activity of erosive agents. Wind, water and glacier. Okay, these agents are also responsible for the soil formation, as well as they act as erosive agents. Wind become very active agent of erosion in the arid or desert area, whereas water is very effective agent of erosion in the flood prone area, and both of these, they can take away the upper layer of soil quite easily. Okay, so they all are responsible for soil erosion. So students, these are the factors which causes soil erosion. Now erosion is caused by wind, is wind erosion. What is wind erosion? Okay, it occurs due to wind blowing off the loose soil in the top layer, unless it is held down by binding agents like trees and bushes. So as I told you, the place where trees are found less, sparse vegetation, desert arid area, wind became very effective agent of erosion and can easily take away the upper layer of soil, which is responsible for, okay, wind erosion. Now next is water erosion. Erosion is also caused by the flow of water, running water. So it can be of two types: water erosion, the sheet erosion and the gully erosion. Sheet erosion and the gully erosion. So what is sheet erosion? Water flowing down over the large area causes the topsoil to be washed away, which is known as sheet erosion. Okay, when the water flows down over a very large area and therefore there is a removal of the topsoil, that is known as sheet erosion. And what is gully erosion? Gullies actually are the big or the deep channels. Okay, now the running water cuts through the clay soil and makes deep channels, is known as gully erosion. Okay, then this land became unfit for cultivation and therefore it is also known as the bad land. Like for example, in the Chambal basin, these badlands are called the ravines. Okay, and these are unfit for cultivation. They are regarded as a bad land. Apart from these factors, there are some other factors like the roads and the urbanization, climate change are the other factors responsible for soil erosion. Like urbanization has major effects on erosion process. Okay, first by denuding land of vegetative cover, and next by covering the land in an impermeable layer of asphalt or concrete that increases the amount of surface runoff and increases surface wind speed. Now climate change is also responsible for this soil erosion. The warmer atmospheric temperature observed over the past decades, okay, and the rise in the sea levels that has occurred as a result of climate change has also greatly increased coastal erosion rates. And then the soil erosions, we also know that this increased rainfall amount and intensities, it will lead to greater rates of soil erosion. So these are some of the other factors which causes the soil erosion.